Sometimes people hold on to these things because they're so comfortable with being a victim. It's strength in finding resilience beyond your circumstances. What is up, you guys? I'm Zakia Monet, and welcome to the Finding Your Way podcast, where we share stories about hardships and share ways to not let our circumstances define us. Like you, we're just here to find our way. What's up, you guys? My name is Zakia. I go by Zakia Monet on all social media platforms. Welcome to another episode of Finding Her Way podcast, where we talk about everyday, regular. I'm not gonna cuss. I'm trying not to cuss. I'm learning to do better with my words. So as you guys know, in every video, in every podcast, we do a journal entry. So this journal entry will be, I wrote it down. I gotta write stuff down these days or I forget. What are some things that you want to heal about yourself and completely let go of? And so what I basically wanted to talk about in this podcast episode, I think I'm going to start doing this probably every other week or at least like once or twice a month. I do want to start doing like a recap of my therapy sessions because like we be talking about a lot of stuff that I don't really bring up and that I haven't really brought up for myself in a long time. So that's what I think I'm going to start doing these podcast episodes, maybe like once, or I'm thinking maybe two at the most, because I really feel like these will be really good, not even only just for me, but for someone else. And I think that would be really good. So this week in therapy, I kind of been talking to my therapist about, well, I decided that I was going to start I was going to start doing, at least in order to get like grow my relationship with God and get closer to him, I wanted to start reading the Bible. And I have been doing that, but I've just been all over the place. And so I've read Genesis at least I don't know how many times, and I just couldn't understand it. And I just I didn't feel right moving forward without like completely understanding what I'm reading. So I did hear things about, starting in Matthew, because that's when, God did all of his work and that's when he did all his deeds. But I feel like in order for me to understand that, I have to understand where it all began. So I'm starting over from the beginning. Right now, like I said, I'm in Genesis, and I said I was going to start doing at least one book or one chapter a month to kind of, understand and get a clear understanding, a better understanding what happened in the Bible. So while I was reading Genesis, I had a lot of revelation about a lot of things, because, They was messy. That was messy in their daggone Bible. I didn't mean to say daggone, but they were like, y'all think we messy in this day and time? They was messy. That's where it started. So I was reading and reading a lot of different people's story and all these other things, and I don't know what maybe had these different revelations that I had, but I had them. This specific one, I think I already recorded a podcast episode about it, but I really want to touch on it again because it keeps coming up for me. So in this week, we're talking about my issues of abandonment. And I'm going to tell y'all a story behind it and why I brought it up in this particular therapy session. I'll probably bring it up every other therapy set, I'll probably bring it up every other therapy session, or at least once a month whenever I do. I have therapy every week on Thursdays, but I know I speak on the abandonment issue that I be feeling probably once a month out of all those times or whatever, because it's a steady or ongoing issue that I'm dealing with, and I just don't be realizing that I'm dealing with it until after. So I kind of wanted to talk about a situation that I was going through that made me brought it, or that made me, I don't know what made me think about it like this or what, but I just want to talk about it with y'all because y'all my people. So, let me see what else I wrote down here so I can get down into some things. Let me see. Okay, so what made me bring it up was because I was just y'all know I'm single. I'm a single girl. But I'm also, I always tell y'all, I'm a lover girl. I love love. So in the spirit of me being a lover girl, sometimes, I don't delete messages. I keep everything. So sometimes I'll go through my conversations and stuff like that whenever I'm talking to somebody that I'm no longer connected with. So this particular person, I'm trying to figure out if I want to tell this story or not. Y'all, I'm getting hot. I'm getting nervous. I don't know what that is, but I know I need to say it because it's something that I'm still dealing with, and it's not even just a relationship aspect. I feel like I'm still dealing with it in like my family relationships and my friendships. Like I'm still dealing with like this abandonment issue. And I remember having a conversation with my friend, and she was just like, she feels like she felt like that I was putting this abandonment issue on her, because like it was just a lot. I'm gonna get into that too, but yeah. So I just feel like I really need to deal with this issue before I even, you know, go into any relationship for real. Like I feel like this is something I really need to go, this is something that I really need to dig deep into, because it's steady a problem for me. So I'm gonna tell the story. So anyway, okay, so I was talking to this guy, met him on Tinder, real cool, conversation good. I think this was probably the second person I was talking to after the whole situation with my son's dad. So like the relationship with my son's dad is the only relationship that I know. Like I was with him since I was 12. I'm 27 now, but when we ended things, I think I was 20, 19 or 20, one of them. So it was like a long time. Like that's the only real relationship that I knew. Of course, you had like people in high school that you say, not high school, but like 6th grade and 5th grade that you know, like I really didn't really start talking to guys for real until probably 6th grade. Yeah, so yeah, of course, like you have those little things or whatever, but you know, that was just, it wasn't nothing. But the longest real relationship that I had was with my son's dad. So that's all I knew for real. And with that, it wasn't nothing. The only thing good that came out of that was my kids. So like if I say that, like y'all can understand, like it was bad, like it was really bad. So like coming out of that, you already have like a lot of hesitation, a lot of nervousness, and a lot of preconception thoughts of different men and different guys. We're gonna be honest, ladies, like we carry that torch for a long time. Like if it's a guy, I'm not gonna say the N-word, but if it's a guy that has done so much to us and has left us traumatized, and that the relationship was nothing but toxic, sometimes we tend to carry those feelings and those burdens into other relationships and other people. It's not fair to the other people, and I'm not saying it's right, but to give us some credit, like that's just what, like we gotta heal that. We gotta heal that. Like we gotta heal that. Like it's just something that we've been through. It's just something that I'm not saying that the person, like the other people, I'm not saying that the other people have to stick around for you to get better, but I just want them to kind of understand, like sometimes like a person has been through so much that was traumatizing. Like bear with them, give them some grace. And that's also why it's so good to act, like it's so good. I'm trying not to steal my words because I got so much that I want to say, but it's just like it's coming out so fast. I feel like it is so important, and it's so I feel like it's also a recommended thing that you wait a while to get into another relationship. But I know some people, they just like being in relationships and they just want that love, and they just want that feeling of having a companion or a partner. They just want that, and I get it. Like we all want love. I get it. I don't think it's a person on earth that doesn't want love. If they say they don't, then that's something that they've been through, and that's something they got to work through. But I just feel like at some point in our lives, like we all want somebody to love us. Like we all want a companion besides our kids, or you know, like we all want somebody besides our kids to love us. You know, so I say that to say that's why it's so important to learn yourself and love yourself and be single for a while until you get to know a relationship. So I'm gonna get back to my story. So yeah, so coming off of that relationship, I was already hesitant about the guys, and you know, like I already have this thought in my mind, like, you know, hoping and praying that the guys weren't the same, but you know, still like being on edge. So you know, I'm looking out for red flags, I'm looking out for different things, I'm looking out for the control, I'm looking out for the consistency, I'm looking out for a lot of things that I feel like that went on in that relationship, and I'm looking at them in like different guys. And I know that's not a good thing, but I'm just trying to make sure that the relationship that I want to get in next is not the same as the relationship that I just got out of. So I need to slow down because I feel like I'm talking so fast. Like, I gotta slow down. Like, y'all gonna get the story, y'all gonna get it. Girl, just slow down. So, met the guy on Tinder. Conversation was good. Like, we got off Tinder and we made it to the phone. So, you know how they said, like, we made it out the group chat. Like, we made it out the chat. So we made it off the app. When we started talking more, started getting to know each other more, and it was good. Like, it was really good. He was very respectful. He was consistent, and you know that's how it go always in the beginning. It's always consistent. It's always so beautiful. It's always like it's always like a breath of fresh air, you know, especially after you went through, you know, something like, slow down, girl. Especially after you went through something as traumatic as I have. So, you know, like, it was just a breath of fresh air. So he finally, you know, I don't know if he asked me to go on a date or whatever, but he asked me what I was doing, or I don't remember how the conversation went, but I just know, like, we ended up going on our first date, and it was right around my son's birthday, because I remember like it was yesterday. So we went to the movies. It was cool, it was fun, like, it was really good. So after that, the conversation kept going, you know, we kept in contact. It was consistent, it was good. He was still respectful. He wanted to see me, and you know, like, a girl likes a guy that wants to see her all the time. Like, come see me, you know, like, we like that. So, you know, he wanted to see me, you know, he wanted to do all this stuff, but it was hard for me to balance him and my son. So that was like a really big thing for me, because my son, on the other hand, he's so attached to me. He doesn't even like a guy looking at me in the store. Like, that's how bad my son was then. But he still got some improvement to do, but he was just like, it was just bad then. And I think because everything was just so fresh and it was so new, so like, it was crazy. So it was like me trying to balance him and my son, and it was kind of hard for me because I didn't really have, like, I don't know, it was just hard for me. So that was the thing for me, but he was still consistent, he was still persistent in trying to see me. So we would go on little dates here and there, and it would be cool, and we would have conversation, and you know, he would just like do things, try to get me out the house, and he would want me to get out the house. He would always say things like, you need to get out the house, you got a lot going on, stuff like that, because that's the stuff that he did. Like, he was a person, like, he was that's one thing I can say, he's a very adventurous person. He's very, like, he just likes doing stuff, I guess, to clear his mind and get some type of peace outside of whatever he was going through, you know. So I understood that. So it was like, okay, like, just to say, like, it was good. My birthday, he took me to we went to Virginia to go to the beach or whatever, because I think I wanted to go sit on some water just to clear my mind and all this other stuff. We went to the beach on my birthday, and it was really good. That's the first time we, you know, and that, I think it took us like it took us a couple months. I want to say it was 4 months, 3 or 4 months until we actually had intercourse. So, you know, that was that. So, you know, like, as time went on, he was consistent, but then, you know, after a while I started noticing, I think after year 1, the shit started to slow up. Like, it started to slow up. Like, it started to be to where, like, I would hear from him, you know, I understand, like, people work, I get that, like, we ain't gotta talk all day, you know, but at least check in, you know, every day, and, you know, like, keep that up, or, you know, like, even after work, you know, like, because he was a person like that would go out after work and, you know, to wind down from work, he would go get some he would go drink at the bar or do stuff like that. So like I feel like, you know, the conversation and the communication should have been more consistent than it was. I probably would hear from him maybe once a day, and that just wasn't cool for me. Like, it might be cool for somebody else, but that just like that's just not my thing. So as it got further, as we started talking more, like it started to decrease even more. So it was just like, I don't know what's going on, but then it started to pick back up. So it started to pick back up. It was starting to feel like it was back to how it was in the beginning. And like looking back on it now, like I get it. Like I guess it's a thing that guys do to, you know, try to pull you in and, you know, get you there. But I always felt like he wasn't that kind of guy, and I still feel like it was like he had some other stuff going on that he just didn't want to speak on, because like I just didn't get that vibe from him. He's really laid back, he's really chill, and like I just really didn't get that vibe from him. Like, I don't know, he may have been that person that tried to play like that but really was something else, but I don't know. So that may have been it too. But anyway, so as the time went on, it did get better. But then, you know, after a while, it just started to decrease. And then eventually one day, I just didn't hear from him at all. Let me backtrack, because before that, I think it got better because I had went through an incident where a gun was pulled out on me. And I think I was supposed to be doing something, and like he was there for me in that way. So it got better because of that. So then after a while, like even after that, it started to slow down. And eventually I just didn't hear from him at all. And so I didn't hear from him. And the only reason why I didn't reach out was because I felt like, as like leading up to that, I was doing more of the reaching out, and the response that I was getting was so dry. Like, who would want to continue on a relationship or a conversation with somebody that and the conversation is dry? Like, that's just like, at this point, it just feels like I'm begging. Like, I'm begging you to speak with me. I'm begging you to fuck with me. Like, I'm begging you, like, for your time and your attention. And that's just not the kind of girl I am. Like, I don't even like asking for nothing. If I gotta ask you twice, that's too close to begging. So I'm not gonna do that. I don't even like asking once. Sometimes I feel like if you see something that needs to be done, I feel like you should just do it. You know? Like, that's just the kind of person I am. But if you don't feel the need to do it, then that's fine. Then I'm gonna do it. It's like, I'm gonna figure it out. But anyway, so like I just felt like I was begging for his attention and his time. So I just stopped, you know, hitting him up first. So then, like, I guess when I stopped hitting him up first, like, I just didn't hear from him at all. And that was it. So then, like, I would only hear from him if I would reach out for, like, his birthday or whatever, but I didn't hear nothing back from me. So I say all that. I say that whole story to say, I was trying to shorten it up. So I say all of that to say, like, just thinking about how that went. Because he hit me up out of nowhere at the end of last year. And it was just for the day. And it was just like, what's the point in like even doing that, you know? So I brought this up to my therapist, and I was just telling her how I felt about it, because I ended up going through our old messages and all this other stuff. And after going through those messages, I just started thinking about like a lot of different things. And I just feel like all of that just brought back up like my feeling of abandonment. And I'm trying not to get emotional, because like when I feel those things of abandonment, it just makes me feel like I'm not wanted and I'm not loved. And like, what about me gives not that girl? Like, what about me gives like I could just come in her life whenever I want to? Or what about me gives like she's easy to get over? Like, all you gotta do is talk to her just a little bit of time, and then you're like, you in there. Like, it just gave that, and I just like didn't appreciate that at all. And I feel like I go through a lot of this feeling a lot of times, especially with guys, this inconsistency and this in and out stuff. And I feel like it started so far back from me. And it's a lot of females that have gone through life without having a father. And although I had a father, our relationship was fine up until I was 10. And even before that, he had a lot of issues going on with himself that I had to see. So I'm trying not to get emotional, because it was just like, no matter what my dad did, I still like loved my dad. I'm trying not to get emotional. I ain't gonna cry. It's just like, you know how like you have this feeling and this pit in your stomach of wanting to cry, but it's just like it's just sitting there, and you trying, like, I feel like I've come, like, for me, I've come to be so immune to, what's the word I'm looking for? I feel like I'm just cried out, you know? But I just still get emotional about it, because it's just like, no matter what my dad did, no matter what fucked up shit my dad did, like, whether, I don't, my dad did some fucked up shit. But it was just like, no matter what he did, like, I still loved my dad, and I still considered myself to be a daddy's girl, because it was just like, as long as I was with my dad, no matter whether we didn't have furniture, we was laying on the floor, no matter he was getting kicked out, no matter if we had people pounding on the door for them to kick us out because he owed back rent, no matter if he had a gambling problem, no matter if he had a drinking problem, no matter, I'm not gonna say the other part because it was alleged, it's a rumor, and I don't know if it's true, but no matter that, like, it was just like, no matter what, like, that was still my dad, and I still wanted to be around him, no matter where we were at, no matter if we was at my grandma's house, no matter if we were back at my aunt's house, like, no matter where he was at, because he moved, like, he had, like, we moved, like, some of everywhere in Greenville. Like, we moved some of everywhere when it was just us three. He only had 3 kids at the time. Now he has 7. So when it was just us 3, it was just like, it was just us, and it was just like, it was fun. Like, me and my brothers, we would, like, if we didn't have furniture in the living room, we would play games we would just play stupid ass games, make up games in the living room, and like, we would just do shit like that. No matter what the situation looked like, no matter what my dad, like, no matter how fucked up my dad was, like, that's just what we did. And it was just like, as time went, like, he just wasn't my dad anymore. Like, when I went through life situations, he just wasn't my dad anymore. When it came to his wife, he just wasn't my dad anymore. He was just like always somebody else over me, and it was just always like somebody else over his kids, like his other kids that he has now over us. And it's just like, as old as I am, I still, like, I get like how some people could feel like you're grown, and you know, you're too grown to need your parents, and you're too grown to need this. But like, the fact of the matter is, I feel like no matter how old I am, I'm still gonna feel that void, because of the fact that he missed so much out of my life. He missed so much out of my life, like, and I feel like he wasn't there for me in a lot of ways in my life. No matter what, like, I feel like sometimes parents, they feel like they see our upbringing as one thing, and in our eyes, like, it could be a whole different thing. They feel like they did good raising us, and we feel like we could feel like it was the shittiest upbringing of our lives. I'm not gonna say my upbringing was the shittiest, but I felt so shitty, like, growing up. Like, I felt these things, like, it's the way they made me feel. So like, getting this, like, going back to say, like, having that feeling of abandonment from my dad, I've carried that so much in every relationship, and I feel like that's why I clung so tight onto my son's dad. In that relationship, I feel like that's why I didn't want to let that go. I didn't want that, I didn't want to be another female in my family that, relationship didn't work, wasn't with their kid's dad, or that, like, I just didn't want that to be my situation. But it was, and it is, and it's okay. That's okay, as long as, like, my son is good, he's not in a toxic environment, and I provided him a safe and healthy environment. That's all that matters to me at this moment. But looking at it now, like, from back then, all I wanted was my dad. Like, I would say sometimes, like, my son's granddad on his dad's side felt like more of a dad to me, in that moment when I was like, you know, I don't know, growing up. I would say that I would go to their house to get away from the feelings that I felt at my house. You know, I would go to their house to get away from the chaos that was going on at my house. So like their house was the escape for me. No matter if family want to admit it or not, like I went through some shit growing up. And can't nobody take that shit away from me. Like I just feel like I said, I just feel like sometimes like they don't get it. Like they just don't get it. Like they can, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird. But anyway, so I just feel like I carried that feeling. I've carried that feeling in every relationship that not every relationship. I feel like I've carried that feeling in every situation that I've been in, whether it was just talking to a guy, or the relationship with my baby's dad, or, you know, like, you know, anything. Even my friendships, I feel like I carried that into that. Because I've had some situations in friendships that, like, it was just, man, listen. Like, man, listen. One thing about it, I've grown to know, a female would not like you just because you're pretty, or just because they feel like you got something going on, or they feel like you got this something about you. It can be like they don't even know what it is. They don't have to know what it is. It could be something about you that is just like something. They can hate you just for that, or they cannot like you just for that. Like it's just I just always went through like a little thing of that, and it's always just like my friendships was weird. And it was just like, I just went through a tough time with friendships. So I feel like the older I've gotten, I did go through a period of space where my best friend now, like, it was to a point where it's not to say I didn't want her to have other friends. I don't know how to explain it. It was just like, I was in a weird space, and it just like started to put a damper on my friendship at one point. I remember me and her having a conversation, and she was just like, I feel like you're putting your abandonment on me. To sum it up, she was saying I'm putting shit that she didn't do, I was putting it on her. And at the time, I didn't get it. I'm not going to get too deep in the conversation because I think we talked about a lot. Like, I feel like it was a lot that we both could have said about each other, and it was a lot that we both had a conversation about. But I think I want to speak on just me because this, like, I'm the only one here. Like, eventually I'm going to bring her on so we can talk about that on camera, because I think that's a good conversation, especially for friendships. Because I know, like, every friendship, like, I know it's people that don't have an argument a day in their life. Like, they just click, like, they just like that. But I feel like when you and a friend have both had traumatic experiences in life, I feel like it's a lot that could you know, cause some friction there. Like, I feel like you both can bring in, you know, you both have that trauma, so it's like a trauma bond in a way. But I don't know how to explain it. It's weird. But she was just telling me how she felt like I was putting my abandonment issue on her, because I would feel abandoned or unimportant in her life whenever she would, like, you know, even make something as simple as a post on Facebook about any of her other friends. And like, even if she would say anything about her other friends, and it was just like, it would be a thing for me. It was because it would just be like, damn, well, what am I? And that's what I always feel, and that's what I always take away, especially with my dad. Like, damn, what am I? Like, I'm your firstborn daughter. I'm your firstborn child. What am I? You know? So I understand where my friend was coming from in that aspect. I get it. And so I've done a lot to try to work on myself in that aspect and in that way. And it has maybe caused me to pull back. It caused me to pull back in the beginning, because I don't like feeling like I'm smothering somebody, or like my trauma is too much for somebody, or like I come with too much, or like my energy is too heavy for somebody. I don't like that feeling. So I just had to take a step back, and I felt like I needed to just evaluate my life and evaluate myself. But I feel like this feeling of abandonment comes up for me a lot. it comes up for me a lot, and I don't know if it's because of the people that I'm choosing, or if it's just like this feeling from within myself. But I really want to heal it, and I really want to get like down to why I'm feeling this way. So as I'm telling my therapist these things, we're just having this conversation, and she was just like, you know, sometimes people hold on to these things because they're so comfortable with being a victim. They're so comfortable with being, you know, like people, I don't know if it's like catering to them, or, you know, like I don't know what that is, but they're so comfortable with being a victim, and they're so comfortable with always having something going on, or they're so comfortable with still being stuck in a situation. So it was just like, it had me thinking like, I don't know if I don't know if I can say I'm comfortable with, I don't know, but it just had me thinking like, I'm just so ready to let go of all this hurt and all this bullshit that I've been through. I feel like I've been carrying this shit for so long. I've been carrying it so long, and I'm just ready to let it go, but I don't know how to let it go because I keep feeling these things and they keep showing up for me in different ways. So I feel like by me reading the Bible and me getting to know God and me, you know, me getting into that word, maybe that's going to help me, you know, to, you know, let this stuff go and get rid of this feeling that these feelings that I be feeling, and this feeling of trauma, this feeling of hurt, or this feeling of whatever it is, because I need to let it go. Like, it is so heavy for me. It just feels like so heavy, and I get so frustrated and mad at myself because like, why are you still feeling these things why are you still feeling this way for things that happened years ago? Like, why are you still stuck in this victim mentality? Like, why do you consist on being a victim? Or why do you consist on being traumatized? And why do you consist on being hurt? Like, why are you not ready to heal that part of you yet? Why are you not ready to let that go? And I feel like it's just like, I feel like it's because it's some conversations that need to be had. Although I tried to have a conversation with my dad, and it was just like, it just turned to me like I was the problem. So I don't know if it's a thing of conversations needing to be had, or if it's a sign that I need to just let some people go. You know, like, we don't want to let our parents go. We don't want to let, you know, friendships go. We don't want to let that stuff go. But it comes to a point in time where I feel like in this case, with family, it's okay to let that go. You know, like, if it's not doing any service to you, if it's not making you happy, if it's not giving you peace, if it's not pouring into you, you gotta let it go. Like, I feel like with my friendship, that's something that I want to keep. That's something I want to, you know, savor. That's something that I want to keep working at, because I know I still got a lot working on me to do. So that's something, we're gonna be okay. That's something I'm for sure of. But as far as like my family go, like, in that aspect, in relationships with men and all this other stuff, I feel like the key to me in my friendships, I just feel like I need to get outside. And not, when I say get outside, that don't mean like clubbing. That means like networking, like going to maybe pottery classes, or maybe going to art classes, and, you know, doing stuff like that, going to a park, you go walking to the park, or going to the gym, doing new stuff like that to have my own identity and for my own thing, you know. So my one person, and I'm not just pouring into one person, and maybe she's not telling me, but I feel like sometimes like that can be heavy for one person. If I only have one person to pour into, and I'm like constantly giving her everything that I have, or everything that I'm going through, that can be a lot. So I just feel like, you know, diversifying my friendships, you know, like getting outside and not being so, you know, scarred by friendships and meeting new people. And, you know, it don't always have to be a thing. There can be associates thing. We don't always have to link up. We don't always have to talk. But as far as friendships go, like, that's just how I feel about that. As far as like my family goes and relationships go, like, I just feel like if it's not doing me nothing, if it's not serving me, if it's not like, if you're not pouring into me, like I said, if you're not like, if you're still hesitant, if you're still headstrong on me being the problem, and you're not able to look at what you got going on, and you've seen me take accountability for my actions and what I have going on, when I just honestly don't feel like I did anything. But if you feel like I did anything and I've tried to right my wrong in that, and you still see to not accept what you've done and how you made me feel, then I'm okay with just disregarding that and letting that go. And so I want to get to a point of letting stuff go and letting shit go. I don't want to be sad anymore. I don't want to cry anymore. I don't want to go through that. Like, crying all the time, it's so tiresome. I'm tired of crying. I just want to be happy. Like, I'm tired of going through that. I'm tired of that feeling of abandonment. Like, I'm just tired of feeling that. So I just feel like that's just something that I'm working on this year. That feeling, like, I know I've already did a podcast episode on that, but I feel like I really need to double back on it again, because it just keeps showing up for me. It just keeps showing up for me. So I feel like this is something that I'm realizing that I really need to heal this year. That's really my goal. But I don't know. But I know I don't talk y'all head off for today and for this episode. So I appreciate you guys for joining as always. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful for you guys. I'm so grateful for the comments that I do get. I'm so grateful for the likes. I'm so grateful for everything that you guys show me. I hope to continue to pour into you guys. I hope I'm able to continue to grow this community. Follow me on Finding Her Way, at Finding Her Way on Instagram. And at Finding Her Way Pod on Instagram. I'm going to get those back building up, because I want to go ahead and start that nonprofit this year. Although that I've already started the trademark process, I want to go ahead and get it incorporated this year as well. So we got some work to do. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. I hope you enjoyed and took at least one thing, if any, from this. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share us with a friend you know. Follow us on Instagram at Finding Her Way Pod, and send us letters or questions to askfhw@gmail.com. We hope to hear from you in the next episode.